First, let's meet Saleema Rehman. Dr. Saleema Rehman is the winner for Nansen Refugee Award for her dedication to promoting girls' education in her community and contribution to Pakistan's COVID-19 response. She was an Afghan refugee. More than 29 years ago, she was born in the refugee camp in Pakistan. At the age of 29 now, she already opened her own private clinic serving refugee and local women who struggle to have access to affordable health care. Today, Dr. Saleema's story and work are bringing change, a living testament of how women can positively contribute to the community in hope that many might follow in her footsteps. Here is her story. Dr. Saleema, what a pleasure to see you, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's also a pleasure for me to meet you.
You seem to be talking to us in a beautiful place. Where are you?
Yes, I'm at my home in Atak City.
In Pakistan?
Yeah, in Pakistan.
I see. And you're living there with your family, whole family?
Yeah, I'm living with my whole family here. I have 4 brothers and 2 sisters and 2 sister-in-law, and my father and mother. We all live here in Atak City.
That's a huge family. How did they react when you were winning the prize?
Yeah, they were very proud of me, and that was an emotional period for my family because they appreciated me for my huge achievement, and it's an honor for us, for our family, and for our people.
Congratulations once again, particularly for your parents, I would assume, because you were born in the refugee camp, and it was your father who struggled and made all the things happening, right? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, true. The story starts with my father actually, because he was the one who fled the Russian war in 1979. He fled the war and came to Pakistan to seek refuge. He found refuge in Sawabi refugee camp in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Pakistan, where he started living his life as refugee along with his relatives. He was an orphan, so he had to do job. He was a daily wager, and initially he started to sell fruits in the day, and in the night he started making designs and weaving rugs. That's what our Turkmen families do at their home. So I was born in 1991 in Sawabi refugee camp when my parents faced so many challenges and difficulties during the childbirth. My mother had faced severe complications. During that time, my parents felt the importance of education and the need of a women doctor in our refugee community. So my father pledged that the baby, whether regardless of the gender, he would ensure that the baby would become a doctor in future.
That's nice. So, because I know you have a nickname called Dr. Saleema. Even before you took the job of being a doctor, your family already called you that. Your mother was having a huge challenge delivering you, giving birth to you, and your father made that vow, no matter boy or girl, he or she will become a doctor, and you did.
Yeah, I was able to make his dream real.
But you know, you made your dream real, but with a lot of challenges. I understand even in Pakistan, in the refugee camps, people are still not used to girls going to universities and becoming a professional doctor. So how did your family and yourself while you grow up, try to deal with those difficulties?
Yeah, you are right. It was very difficult, and I had to face so many obstacles and challenges during my journey. First of all, I had to break the barriers of my community, because I belong to a very conservative community, which is a Turkmen community, in which women are not allowed to go to school and get education. It's not prioritized. The basic needs of getting food and basic facilities is being prioritized, but education is kept secondary. So I was the one who broke the barrier to get higher education and to get medical education from my community. I was the first one. And being a refugee, it was also a challenge for me. I had no guidance. I had no female role model to look up to in my community. So I was the first one. I had to explore the opportunities and the way to make my dream of becoming a doctor real.
You know, the reason I laughed is because even at this moment, I could tell you're still trying to struggle to reflect back on how you managed to personally to do that. Tell me more about how you try to be able to stand still and try to have your dream realized.
You are right. Initially, I was the only one sitting in the school. I was the only refugee girl who was sitting in the benches of those schools. But with the passage of time, with the passage of time, people realized that I am doing something different, because when I was in high school, when I was in primary school and high school, I was able to learn Urdu language, which is our host country's language. And I was freely communicating with the locals. And while getting private medical consultations, people used to take me along to interpret their language, because we speak Turkmen language, and there is a language barrier as well. Most of the women, they can't tell their diseases to the doctor in their language, and they can't understand Urdu language. They started they got my help as an interpreter, and they started realizing the importance of getting education, that I'm doing something which is becoming helpful for them. So with the passage of time, when I became doctor and started treating myself, the patients, their views about the women education changed. And it's just the beginning, it will take some time. If I'm able to change their mind, the small set of people, but it will multiply in future.
Not only you try to do that job, but also your father, I guess, he was questioned by many of his male counterpart, about why sending your girl to medical school, in university. How did you manage to do that?
My father was very supportive of education, especially for young girls and children. He was advocating for female education since the start. As I have told you earlier, that he was an orphan, and he was not able to get his own education. Then he realized that I was not able to get education, but I will make sure that my children will get education. But when he started working with his community, most of the community members and their families were weaving carpets, and they were not sending their daughters and children to school. He started advocating for education, and for this he persuade community members to send your daughters to send your children to school, which was in a refugee school, free of cost. And he actually advocated for it. And I was also persuading the community elders to send your daughters to school, because we are already refugees and we need education for our livelihood, for our better future.
What about women now living in the refugee camps? Would they have access to hygiene, have access to medical help if they need it?
As I have told you that our community and our refugees are living below the poverty line, most of the refugees. So their personal hygiene and mental and physical health is so compromised. They are the vulnerable population, but they have access to free access to healthcare, public sectors. But those living far away from those public sectors, they face problems in transportation, in searching some interpreter,
right.
Translator. So they face these kind of barriers. They have no access to proper nutrition. That's why they are suffering from decreased hemoglobin level, which is called as anemia, is most prevalent among these women. And most of them suffer from mental illness due to the family restrictions and domestic violence and ongoing situations, uncertainty. Everything makes them vulnerable and their mental health is being compromised. In my clinic, when they come to see me, I offer them counseling sessions regarding their personal hygiene and mental health. And moreover, I have specialized trained in gynecologist. So I deal with most of the expecting mothers.
And now, of course, COVID-19 has put another new layer of pressure on the local community living in the refugee camp. Tell me more about what is the reality now, and how do you, as a doctor, trying to help them in this regard?
When COVID started, I was working in a public sector hospital, that is Holy Family Hospital in Pakistan, which is a large public sector hospital, and it was a COVID response hospital.
I see.
I was working there day and night, shoulder to shoulder to my colleagues, and continued my services by delivering babies, saving mothers' lives, and dispelling the myths about the COVID and its effect on the baby, because most of the women were anxious about their lives and the life of their unborn babies. After my completion of training, I moved to Attic City and I opened a private clinic. Here people from my community visit my clinic, and they have so many myths about COVID-19. They are unaware about the information, the precautions, and the myths about the vaccine. And I'm very glad to help them regarding providing the information, the correct information according to the guidelines, according to the research. They, when they understand that someone from them is telling the truth about the COVID-19, they have trust on me. So I was able to serve them during the pandemic.
With all of these difficulties and challenges, what was it like to be a doctor, on a daily basis? Tell me more about a typical day for you.
A typical day for me is when my community came to know that I have, after several years of my education, I have become a doctor, and they started visiting my clinic. which I have opened recently in June 2021. They come and see me, and that's a very happy moment for all of us.
So it's like in their eyes, their little Saleema has now become the owner and the one who runs a private clinic. Very powerful doctor, isn't it?
Yeah, this is because now people have become more hopeful. The youngest, they are very hopeful about their future when they see me. That I have proved that when we avail the opportunities, refugee has so many potential that they can be a useful member of the society.
What about now, Dr. Saleema, when Afghanistan has to deal with another dramatic change over the past 100 years? I mean, your father ran away from Afghanistan when the former Soviet was there. And now we have seen 20 years of American occupation. The end of it, Taliban comes to power. Some people, once again, fled the country, going to Pakistan, including some of the refugee camps that you earlier stayed. So how do you see this, forever ongoing dramatic changes for Afghans? And what about this round?
As a refugee, I have realized the importance of education and our peace and homeland. I want to say that nobody can understand the significance of peace until they have walked in the shoes of a refugee. And for refugees to fulfill their potential, we need more opportunities in order to become a useful member of our society and work for the peace and development in our country.
So, Dr. Saleema, when you have a chance to talk to those who saw you growing up in the refugee camps, who now know that you have become real Dr. Saleema, what would you say to them?
I want to talk to young refugee girls and children that dare to dream. When you dare to dream, when you are determined, you can achieve what you want, what you dream, and your goals. Determination is a way to success. Being a refugee status is a challenge for us, but when we use our potential, we can become the useful member of our society where we are living, or we are the future of our country. We should be one of those change makers in order to bring peace and development in our country.